Aita for my reaction when I learned that my fiancé returned my wedding dress and replaced it with the one his mom picked for me. My fiancé M33 and IF28 are getting married in December. His mom is the intrusive type, but she's nice overall and we somewhat get along. I hate to admit that wedding planning has been an absolute nightmare. His mom wasn't willing to agree on most things, and my fiancé said that since he's her only son, then I should respect and appreciate this vision she has for the wedding and how it should be. She insisted to come along for wedding dress shopping. I took her with me and my mom and friends. I was so lucky to have found what I was looking for. But she picked a dress that she liked so much and said that she always pictured her son's bride in it. Mom and friends thought this line was creepy. I thought the dress was somewhat creepy and totally not my type. I apologized and thanked her for her vision, but told her that I'd already decided on a dress that I had envisioned myself wearing at my wedding. She got all pissy because of it apparently, then must have told my fiancé because he came home in the evening, ranting about how I made his mom upset and turned down her help in choosing the wedding dress and excluded her from the process. I asked what process? It's just a wedding dress. My wedding dress, so I really didn't get how she should get a say at all. He got upset and said that this attitude of mine isn't working on him or his mom. He said that I should consider the dress his mom wanted me to buy, especially knowing that both dresses weren't that much different anyway like she said, but I told him yes, they were different. Like so much different. Anyways, we argued about it then we dropped it. Yesterday I came home and found out that he had returned my wedding dress and replaced it with the one his mom wanted. I called him and he was straightforward about what he did and why he did it. I lost it and started screaming at him. He asked me to calm down and really give this dress a chance. I refused to even listen. I screamed at him without giving him a chance to speak. He got home and we had an argument. I then went to stay with one of my friends and he kept calling and calling then texting saying that I overreacted and it's his wedding too, so it wasn't cool how I screamed at him. He insisted I give this dress a chance. He went on and on about how his mom has a vision and good intentions and just wants what's best for me as her future daughter-in-law. Mom is livid and has been wanting to go scream at him and his mom, but my dad said that this isn't worth ruining my relationship with my in-laws. He suggested I wisen up and go with the flow, but is it too much for me to be able to pick my own wedding dress without being guilted about it just to keep the peace? Aita for my reaction? ETDQ and as. I'm editing in some answers to frequent questions I get. A. The dress she picked wasn't all too crazy, but just wasn't my type. B. This issue started during wedding planning, and there were other things. Like way too many things we didn't agree on. But this vision has been there for quite a while. C. I am paying for the dress obviously. D. My fiancé's dad is deceased. Also, his mom suffered from multiple health conditions. Has no daughters but one only son. E. He's still persisting. Hand him the ring back. Say I hope you get the wedding you and your mom have always hoped for. Walk away. NTA. NTA. It's good that this is happening now. This is not a dynamic that is going to change with either your fiancé or his mother. Run. NTA. Wise up and run a mile. Next step is picking your honeymoon and coming along. Run, and then run some more. Also, your dad is being ridiculous too. Do you plan on having kids? Now imagine you're disagreeing with something you want to do for those children and how your mama's boy fiancé will side with her instead of you. NTA. I'm sorry, but leave while you can. Aita for refusing to share my food with this one specific colleague. I, 25F, work at a media house. The colleague in question is 29F, let's call her Amy. A few days back, one of our bosses called for McDonald's for the whole office. Since most of our colleagues are vegetarians, there were relatively lesser non-vegetarian options. Amy decided to take all the chicken nuggets, there were like 3 sets of 9 pieces each, and eat them at her desk. I think she also kept a few in her bag. Anyway, so while I'm passing by, I ask if I can take one. She refuses point blank. Legit screams out no. And takes the pack away. Same with a bunch of other colleagues who asked. Then we realized she has taken all of them cause there were none left in the pantry. It was infuriating to see a grown woman behave this way. Earlier today, I decided to order in from this nearby Chinese place. There were fewer of us in office day, so I asked everyone except Amy if they wanted anything. We all contributed and ended up ordering a big lunch for ourselves. Food comes, we sit around a table to eat. Amy notices and comes around, making small talk. As soon as she reaches for a plate and tries to serve, I tell her she can't have the food as we all ordered it for ourselves. Amy looks at me in disbelief. I shrug. Amy slams the plate back on the table and storms off. She ate alone later and didn't say much to anyone the whole day. My colleagues are split about this. Half of them say she had it coming. The other claim I was a little too harsh to exclude and embarrass her. Aita. NTA. Regardless of the McDonald's incident, the fact is she didn't pay for it. Each of you paid for your own meal, and it's no different than bringing in lunch and placing it in the fridge only for a coworker to take it without permission. Would it be nice to offer some? Sure, but no one was required to share their lunch with a glutton. I agree, NTA. The fact that she took all of the nuggets and couldn't have spared even one? You would think the sheer embarrassment of your colleague knowing you took all of one food item would be enough for her to share, but she obviously didn't take the hint. This was a bit petty if op, but rightfully deserved, and now she'll know people didn't appreciate her stunt. NTA. The main difference with this is that your boss ordered the food the first time, and Amy refused to share, which is just odd and not polite, especially because I'm assuming there was more than enough options for everyone. While you on the other hand paid for food with your coworkers and simply didn't invite her, so she wasn't entitled to any of the food she didn't pay for. That was a treat for the office. I understand it is slightly mean to exclude people, but hopefully this was more so just you were rude, and this was the repercussion, so let's hope it doesn't happen again type of situation. NTA. She's being a huge dick here. Notice how your boss ordered McDonald's for the whole office, not just her. She's being greedy by refusing to share, in addition to her rude manners when you kindly asked if you could eat one. Esh. Obviously what she did was inappropriate, but what you did here was petty and only serves to make things worse. An adult way to handle it would be to use words and not blindside embarrass her in front of everybody. Before you ordered, you could talk to her individually. We're doing a group order, but since the whole point is that we each get a little bit of everything, we don't want to order with you again if you're going to take all of something or way more than the rest of us. Would you like to do your own thing or share the group order? Then the ball is in her court. Worst case is the same as op. She agrees but then goes back on it when the food arrives and you call her out. However, it also creates the possibility that she disagrees and gets her own lunch, or that she agrees and complies because you're actually communicating in a productive way rather than just creating public drama confrontation where, as she's upset and embarrassed, she's unlikely to be receptive to what you have to say. Aita. For talking to my mill like a kid when she touched my belly. My husband and I are expecting our first baby, yay. We've had some ups and downs with his parents because they don't understand boundaries, but overall it's been really good. For some context, I, 24F, come from an abusive home, and I can't stand being touched. Before getting pregnant this wasn't a problem with my in-laws, but now that I'm carrying a baby, it's been awful with my mill and my sill because they think they can touch my belly whenever they want to. Both my husband and I have talked to them and said that while I would rather they don't touch me at all, I can understand this is a big thing as a family, so I would simply like being asked instead of just feeling a hand at random times, but they rarely do it, so I just move when they touch me. Now, onto the subject. A week ago my best friend threw me a baby shower and I invited my in-laws, and since I don't have any blood family left, we let them invite 10 more people, which included aunts, cousins and my husband's grandparents. It was an overall lovely moment, but at one time, I was sitting eating cake while my mill talked with my Phil's sister, and while telling her something about the baby, she put her hand in my belly and I just didn't like it. So I took her hand, removed it and said no, you know I've told you not to touch without asking first. You know how to ask first, do you? It's easy. With the most condescending voice I had. Both my mill and my Phil's sister looked at me shocked, and then my Phil's sister laughed, but my mill got red in the face. When it was done, my mill approached me and said that what I did wasn't nice, and she just slipped so I didn't had to treat her like a kid. I just smiled and said that she touching me after being asked a million times not to was a kid behavior, and I just called her out on that. She left, very sad, and when we got home, my Phil called my husband and said he would love for both of us to apologize to each other, but I said no. So he called me an NTA. I hate being touched. Everyone thinks being pregnant makes you public property. Stand your ground, enforce your boundaries, and tell her off every time. NTA. Sometimes people don't understand when you ask nicely. My friend grabbed a stranger's boob when the stranger touched her belly. The stranger was shocked and my friend said, "Oh, I thought we were grabbing each other's bodies, my bad." Yep. My grandma has a habit of touching people when telling something about other people touching someone. Everywhere. I tried talking to her, eventually yelling at her to fucking stop touching me. What worked was when she grabbed my ass as a way of demonstrating, "X did Y to me so many years ago, isn't that awful?" I felt so violated, and after finishing that she touched me. Out of pure reflex I threw my elbow at her and hit her quite perfectly on the cheek. With a lot of momentum. And I mean full force a lot. Long story short. I broke her jaw with the impact, and because she basically got yeeted across the kitchen, she had multiple long-lasting bruises, too. Am I proud of me? No, I don't want to hurt a very fragile person, and apart from that I cannot think of any other bad trait. But it worked. She has not touched me, apart from shaking hands as a greeting, ever since. And I love it. NTA. The proper response from your mill would have been, "I'm so sorry, op. You're right. You've been very clear about this, and I let it slip my mind. I'll remember to ask permission before touching you in the future. Please forgive me." There, done and dusted. But instead, she chose to be offended. NTA. I was far more dramatic when I was pregnant. I wore a shirt that said, "You can touch my belly if I can punch your face."